There are things that break you loudly. A car accident, a breakup, a phone call at 2 a.m. with bad news on the other end. And then there are the quiet ones. The ones that don't announce themselves. The ones that just happen in silence, while the rest of the world keeps moving. My name is Marlo. I'm 27. I grew up in a big family, the kind that has a group chat with 34 people in it, a thread called the Hargroves that moves so fast sometimes you can't keep up. Birthday wishes, prayer requests, memes, somebody's kid losing a tooth, somebody else's husband getting a promotion. For my whole life, that group chat was the heartbeat of my family. Every birthday, like clockwork, someone would post first thing in the morning. Usually, my Aunt Deborah. She'd send a string of balloons and a long message, and within an hour, there'd be 30 responses. Cake emojis, voice notes. My grandmother calling whoever's birthday it was, singing off-key in the most beautiful way. I turned 27 on a Tuesday in March. I woke up at 7:14 a.m., and the first thing I did, I'm not proud of it, but I did it, was check my phone. Nothing. I told myself it was early. People were probably still waking up. I made coffee, took a shower, got dressed even though I'd taken the day off specifically because I wanted to feel special. I sat at my kitchen table and opened the chat. There were 11 new messages. I felt my chest lift. They were about a casserole recipe. I set my phone face down and worked on my breathing. By noon, I had texts from 2 friends from college, one from my coworker Bree, and one from a girl I'd known in high school who I hadn't spoken to in 4 years. My mother had not texted. My father had not texted. My brother Darius, who I'd had dinner with 3 weeks earlier, had not texted. My Aunt Deborah, the birthday engine of the family, had not texted. I told myself there was still time. The day wasn't over. At 3:47 p.m., the group chat exploded. I watched it happen in real time. A message from my Aunt Deborah. Don't forget Saturday. We're doing the surprise for Cassidy at your mom's house. She has no idea. Cassidy is my cousin. My cousin whose birthday was in 4 days. The responses came in like a flood. My mother, already made the playlist LOL. My father, I'll bring the grill. Darius, I got the balloons handled. My grandmother sent 3 heart emojis. My Aunt Patricia offered to make the cake. The same cake she made every year, the one with the cream cheese frosting that everyone lost their minds over. 32 people, actively on their phones, organizing a party for someone else. On my birthday, I read every single message. I don't know why. Some part of me kept scrolling, waiting to find my name somewhere, like maybe someone had mentioned it and I'd missed it, like maybe there was a thread I wasn't seeing. There wasn't. I put my phone on the charger and sat very still for a long time. Then I did something small, something nobody noticed. I opened the group settings, pressed the button that said Exit Group, and confirmed. I didn't send a goodbye. I didn't explain. I didn't post anything dramatic. I just left. I ordered myself a birthday dinner from my favorite Thai place, poured a glass of wine, and watched a movie I'd been saving. And somewhere around the 3rd sip of wine, sitting alone in my apartment with the credits rolling, I made a quiet decision. Not a vengeful one. Not yet. Just a decision to pay attention, to see who noticed I was gone, to see what would happen if I simply disappeared from the room where I had always been present. Here's what I expected. A message within 48 hours. Maybe from my mother, maybe from Darius. Something like, "Hey, did you leave the chat by accident?" That's how these things usually go. Someone notices the number drop by 1. Someone says something. Nobody said anything. I know because I checked. Not obsessively. I want to be clear about that. But I had a secondary account I used for work contacts, and one of my cousins, a younger girl named Presley, had added that number to the chat a while back for some reason and never removed it, so I could see the chat. I just wasn't in it. The first week, nothing. Life went on. Cassidy's surprise party happened. There were 47 photos posted to the chat. My mother was in almost every one of them, laughing, her arm around Cassidy, holding a glass of rosé. She looked beautiful. She looked like she hadn't thought about me once. I went to therapy that month for the first time, not because of the birthday, or not only because of it. My therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Osei, who had a small succulent on her desk and never raised her voice, said something I've thought about almost every day since. She said, "Sometimes people don't forget you. They just never fully learn to see you." I turned that over in my mind for weeks. The second month, my Aunt Deborah texted me directly, not about the birthday, about Thanksgiving. "You coming this year?" Your mom said she wasn't sure. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. My mother had told her sister she wasn't sure if I was coming to Thanksgiving. Not that I'd left the group chat. Not that my birthday had passed without a single word. Just, she wasn't sure. I responded, "I have other plans this year. Have a good one." She sent back a thumbs up. That was the entire conversation. The months started to move differently after that. I stopped waiting for something to happen and started building a life that didn't have a gap in it shaped like my family. I picked up freelance design work I'd been putting off for 2 years. I got closer with Bree from work, who turned out to be one of the most genuinely funny and loyal people I'd ever met. I started running in the mornings. Small things. Real things. I watched the group chat the way you watch a fire from across the street. Detached. Observational. There were moments it stung. Christmas morning, when 30 people exchanged messages and my absence was apparently atmospheric, invisible, unremarkable. A cousin's engagement announcement in February that got 60 responses in an hour. A prayer chain for my Uncle Roy when he went into the hospital, which I found out about 3 days later through Presley texting my real number. I sent flowers to the hospital with a card. I didn't tell anyone I had. By spring, 9 months had passed. I had not heard from my mother about the birthday. Not once. No belated text. No, "I feel terrible." It slipped my mind. Nothing. My father had called me twice in those 9 months. Once about a car insurance question, and once to tell me my childhood dog had died. Both conversations lasted under 4 minutes. Neither one mentioned March. I don't think they were cruel people. I want to say that clearly because this story is not about villains. My mother worked 2 jobs for most of my childhood. My father was a quiet man who expressed love in practical ways, fixing things, showing up, not talking much. Darius had always been the easier child, the one who called on Sundays, the one who made my parents laugh. I was the one who moved away, who had a career they didn't entirely understand, who asked uncomfortable questions at family dinners. I had always been a little bit beside the point, and I had spent 27 years pretending that didn't matter. The night I decided to go back, I wasn't emotional about it. I was calm in the way you get calm when you've already done all the grieving and what's left is just clarity. I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I knew exactly how I wanted to say it. I opened the group. I added myself back. No announcement, no fanfare. I just rejoined the chat quietly, the way I had left it. And then I posted one photo. The photo was from my birthday, not this past birthday, the one they missed. The one 9 months ago, the Tuesday in March, the night I sat alone with Thai food and a glass of wine and made a quiet decision. I had taken one photo that night. I don't even know why. I think some part of me knew I would need it. It was simple. My small kitchen table, the takeout containers open, the wine glass half full, a single candle I'd found in a junk drawer stuck into a piece of mango sticky rice because I didn't have a cake. The lighting was warm. The table was just set for one. I'd written one line of text over the photo before I posted it. No emojis, no punctuation drama. Just, celebrated alone this year. It was actually really peaceful. Then I put my phone down and went to make tea. 10 minutes passed. I know it was 10 minutes because I timed it without meaning to. I put the kettle on, let it boil, poured my cup, carried it to the couch, and sat down. The chat had been silent the entire time. Then my phone buzzed once, then 3 times. Then it didn't stop. The first message was from Presley. She was 19, the youngest of my cousins, and she had always been sharp in a way the adults in the family underestimated. She wrote, "Marlo, wait, was this on your birthday?" I didn't respond. Then Darius. And I want to tell you exactly what he wrote because I've read it many times and I still feel it the same way every time. He wrote, Marlo, I just realized. I missed your birthday. I am so sorry. I don't have an excuse. I'm so sorry. No deflection. No, things have been crazy. Just an apology with its hands up. I read it twice. I set my phone down again. My Aunt Patricia wrote, Sweetheart, why didn't you say something? And there it was. The question that contains its own answer, if you're paying attention. Why didn't you say something? As if the burden of being forgotten falls on the person who was forgotten. As if silence is something you have to announce. I let it sit. My Aunt Deborah wrote something longer. I could see the bubble typing for almost 2 minutes. What came out was, I feel terrible. I genuinely thought someone else had taken care of it. That's not an excuse. I love you and I'm sorry. My mother's message came 14 minutes after I'd posted the photo. 14. I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm saying it because it was the truest data point of the whole day. 34 people had responded before my mother did. She wrote, Marlo baby, I have been staring at this photo for 10 minutes, and I don't know what to say. I failed you. I know I did. I want to call you. Please, let me call you. I sat with that for a long time. My father's message was 3 words. I'm so sorry. He'd never said that to me before. About anything. I didn't respond to the chat. Not that day. I let the messages accumulate. The apologies, the explanations, Presley starting a full investigation asking who had been the one to usually organize birthdays and why it had fallen apart, 2 cousins I barely knew sending private messages just to check on me. I let it all land without catching any of it. That evening, I called Darius back. He picked up on the first ring. He didn't try to explain or minimize. He just said, I've been thinking about you all day. I'm really sorry, Marlo. I don't want to be someone who makes you feel invisible. I told him thank you. I told him I wasn't angry at him. I told him the truth, that I'd needed to see what happened when I stepped out of the frame, that I'd needed to know if anyone would notice the gap. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Did we pass? I thought about that for a second. Some of you did, I said. I spoke to my mother the following Saturday, in person, at a coffee shop, neutral ground. She cried. I didn't. I had already done my crying. 9 months of quiet, private grieving, in therapy, on morning runs, in the small rituals I'd built for myself in her absence. I'd already mourned the version of my family I'd wished I had. What was left was just the real one. I told her I didn't need a big apology. I didn't need her to perform guilt. What I needed was for her to understand that being easy to overlook didn't mean I was fine with being overlooked. That I had spent a long time making myself smaller so that being forgotten would feel like my own fault. She listened. Really listened. In a way she hadn't in years. And at the end she said something I hadn't expected. She said, I think I've always been a little afraid of you. You're so self-contained. I didn't think you needed us the way the others did. I nodded slowly. That's the thing about people who learn not to need things, I said. We learned that because needing things didn't work. I didn't go back to the family group chat the way I'd been in it before. I didn't perform closeness I hadn't rebuilt yet. I responded when I felt like it, stepped back when I didn't. Some relationships in that family deepened. Darius, Presley, my Aunt Patricia. Others stayed at a respectful distance. My next birthday, Aunt Deborah posted at 7:02 a.m. My name was the first word in the message. 31 people responded before 8. I read every one of them. And then I put my phone in my pocket and went on with my morning, the way a person does when they've finally stopped waiting to be seen and started simply living in the knowledge that they are. One photo. No confrontation, no ultimatum, no speech, just the quiet, undeniable proof of what had happened, placed gently into the center of the room where everyone could finally see it. That's all it ever needed to be.